Have you ever looked at a tiny corner of your home and think, there's no way anything can grow here? Maybe it's that awkward space behind your door, or that little balcony corner that barely gets sunlight, or that empty patch beside the AC unit that you keep pretending you don't see. But here's the fun part. Those little forgotten corners, they're full of potential. They just need someone to look at them with a gardener's mindset instead of a that's wasted space mindset. And once you do that, suddenly everything changes. Tiny corners are sneaky. They look useless at first, but once you understand how to work with light, containers, vertical space, and plant choice, that tiny corner becomes an entire edible garden. Yes, a whole garden in one slice of space. And today, that's exactly what we're going to build together. Welcome back to Daily Plant Life. If you're the kind of person who loves making the most out of every inch of space, or you enjoy gardening that feels practical, calm, and affordable, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss our weekly guides. Now grab your water bottle and maybe a small notebook, because we're about to turn that forgotten corner of yours into something alive, green, and delicious. First, let's talk about one of the biggest myths people believe. They think they need a giant backyard to grow food. Rows of crops, raised beds, a big greenhouse, something fancy and spacious and sunny. But here's the truth. Most edible plants do not care about space as much as people think. They care about light, soil quality, and consistency. That's it. Give them those three things, and they'll grow in spaces you'd never expect. Windowsills, balconies, stair landings, rooftops, corners, even the side of your wardrobe if you use grow lights. So today, we'll take one tiny corner and transform it into an edible garden step by step. By the end, you'll actually be shocked at how much food you can grow in such a small footprint. Let's start with the heart of your tiny corner garden, vertical space. If you only look at the floor, any small space feels too small. But once you start looking up, that corner suddenly becomes a 3-story building. And vertical gardening is the easiest way to grow more food with less space. Think shelves, hanging pots, wall planters, stackable planters, even a simple wooden crate turned on its side. That vertical rise lets you grow herbs on the top, leafy greens in the middle, and trailing plants on the bottom. And here's the cool thing. Plants love vertical setups because the air flows better, the light reaches more evenly, and harvesting becomes easier. Instead of bending down or stepping over beds, everything is placed neatly at eye level or within arm's reach. One of the simplest setups you can build is the 3-tier corner shelf. You can DIY it with leftover wood or grab a cheap plastic version. The top tier gets the plants that love the strongest light. The middle gets the steady growers. And the bottom gets the shade lovers that don't mind a little indirect light. Now that we've built our vertical base, let's fill it with plants that actually thrive in corner gardens. We're not going to waste time with fussy, dramatic plants that need perfect conditions. We're choosing the reliable, easy growers that taste good, grow fast, and don't need half your day. Let's start with the obvious stars for small spaces. Herbs. Herbs are the kings and queens of tiny gardens. They don't need deep soil, they grow fast, they smell good, and once they get going, they make you feel like a gourmet chef without even trying. Basil, mint, rosemary, cilantro, oregano, thyme, parsley, chives. They all do well in pots. Mint is basically the plant version of "don't worry, I got you." It grows fast, takes over, and doesn't need babysitting. Basil loves warm corners and grows bushy with frequent pinching. Rosemary drinks slowly but loves bright light. Cilantro prefers cooler corners but grows beautifully with steady moisture. Herbs also teach you consistency. A small watering habit, a morning leaf pinch, a quick trim to keep them bushy. They give you wins every week. Okay, now that your top tier is full of herbs, let's move to the middle layer. Leafy greens, lettuce, spinach, kale, arugula, bok choy. Greens are absolutely perfect for small spaces because they don't need deep pots. A 6 to 8 inch container is enough to grow a steady supply. And the best part? You don't need to uproot the whole plant. You harvest from the outside, and they keep producing for weeks. Lettuce is the easy one. So thick, Harvest often. Eat fresh. Spinach loves cooler corners. Arugula grows fast and brings that peppery kick. Bok choy grows upright and compact. And kale? Kale is the superstar that never gets tired. Now let's talk about the bottom tier. The shade-friendly, low-maintenance plants that actually enjoy the spots most people ignore. Green onions, Swiss chard, radishes, even baby carrots if you place the pot slightly forward. Green onions will grow in almost any light. Radishes mature fast and stay crisp. Swiss chard handles low light better than most leafy greens. And baby carrots? They just need loose soil and patience. Once you combine these three tiers, your tiny corner is already producing salads, herbs for cooking, greens for smoothies, toppings for noodles, and fresh garnishes for almost anything you make. But we're not done. That's only the first half of maximizing tiny corner gardening. Let's talk about micro spaces. The sneaky little gaps we often ignore. The ledge under the shelf. The hook at the top. The side of the wall. The space behind the planter. Those tiny spots can grow microgreens. Microgreens are a tiny gardener's dream. Shallow tray, a handful of seeds, a bit of light, and in 10 days you have fresh greens that are more nutritious than fully grown vegetables. Radish microgreens are spicy. Sunflower microgreens taste nutty. Pea microgreens taste sweet. You only need 10 minutes a day to mist them and check on them. Now let's add one more element to your tiny corner garden. Climbing plants. Cucumbers, peas, and pole beans can grow indoors or on balconies as long as they have support. A simple string trellis, a bamboo stick, or a mesh panel behind your corner shelf turns vertical space into a climbing playground. These plants bring a satisfying reward because they give you both leaves and pods. Watching a cucumber wrap its tendrils around a support feels like watching nature build itself in slow motion. Now let's talk about the one thing people ignore but makes a massive difference in small space gardening. Soil quality. When your garden is tiny, every scoop of soil matters. You can't afford weak soil, and your plants don't have the benefit of open ground to stretch their roots. Good quality potting mix gives your plants the air pockets, drainage, and nutrients they need. Compost makes the soil richer and keeps it alive. Worm castings help your plants grow steady and strong. A tiny garden thrives on healthy soil. Think of it as the foundation of your mini ecosystem. Now let's shift to another hidden power of tiny corner gardens. Mobility. If your tiny corner is movable, your garden becomes smarter. Putting your plants in lightweight containers lets you adjust them based on seasons. Move the herbs to brighter spots in winter. Bring the greens forward on cloudy days. Rotate pots to help them grow evenly. Tiny gardens give you flexibility that big garden beds don't. But let's talk about water next. Tiny corners need strategic watering. Not too much, not too little. A small watering can, even a spray bottle for delicate greens. Early morning watering helps the plants drink before the heat arrives. Evening misting keeps the leaves fresh. You don't need huge irrigation systems, just consistency. Now, before we move to our next section, I want to talk about the surprising emotional benefit of growing plants in tiny corners. When your garden is compact, you interact with it more. You take care of it because it's right there. You see it every day. You watch new leaves grow. You celebrate tiny progress. That connection makes gardening feel more personal and calming. All right, let's go deeper. Let's talk about what most people don't think about. Light. Light is what decides what you can grow. So first, you need to understand the type of light your tiny corner gets. Is it bright and sunny most of the day? Is it filtered light? Is it a few hours of morning sun? Or is it mostly shade? Sunny corners can grow tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, basil, and rosemary. Partial sun corners grow greens, mint, peas, chives, and cilantro. Shade-heavy corners grow microgreens, green onions, Swiss chard, and mushrooms if you want to get fancy. And when all else fails, a small grow light changes everything. Even a cheap clip-on light can turn a dark corner into a productive food spot. Now let's talk about arrangement. How do you place your plants so they all grow well? The tallest plants go in the back. The widest plants go in the middle. The lowest ones go in front. It's like seating your plants at a concert so everyone gets a good view. No one gets blocked. No one struggles for light. And nothing feels overcrowded. Speaking of overcrowding, here's something that makes tiny corner gardening successful. You must resist the temptation to plant too much at once. Crowding stops airflow, attracts pests, blocks growth, and makes your tiny garden feel messy. Give each pot room to breathe. A little spacing goes a long way. Now, let's add something fun to this corner of yours. Companion planting. When you pair the right plants together, they help each other grow. Basil helps tomatoes grow sweeter. Chives keep pests off lettuce. Mint keeps ants away. Marigolds discourage aphids. Rosemary repels mosquitoes. Even in a tiny space, companion planting saves you headaches. Now let's talk about pests, because even tiny gardens get visitors. Aphids, gnats, mites, fungus flies. They show up uninvited, but they're not hard to handle. A spray bottle with neem oil and water solves most problems. Good airflow prevents mold, and healthy soil keeps plants strong enough to resist pests. Let's shift into harvest. How do you keep a tiny garden producing for months? Harvest often, especially the leafy greens and herbs. Plants grow more when you take some. It's true. Cutting herbs makes them bushier. Harvesting lettuce leaves makes it produce new ones. Snipping green onions encourages fresh shoots. The garden that gets harvested grows the best. And now, let's talk about the last piece of this tiny corner garden, making it yours. Add a little wooden crate for storage. A tiny compost cup for kitchen scraps. A hook for your scissors. A stone or two for decoration. Even a small notebook to track growth. What you're building isn't just a garden. It's a ritual, a habit, a corner of calm and productivity. And now, before we wrap up, here's your bonus. Fruit. Yes, you can grow fruit in a tiny corner. Strawberries do great in hanging pots. Dwarf lemon trees grow in corners if they get enough sun. Blueberries grow in containers with the right soil. And the best part? They look beautiful. All right, now I want to hear from you. What tiny space in your home do you want to transform first? The balcony corner? The kitchen window? The side of your wardrobe? Tell me in the comments. I love seeing the creative ways you turn small spaces into edible gardens. If this guide gave you even one idea, hit that like button. It helps the channel grow. And make sure you subscribe to Daily Plant Life and turn on notifications so you never miss our weekly videos. Your tiny corner isn't too small. It's just waiting for someone to claim it. So stay warm, stay curious, and keep growing. I'll see you in the next one.